Yo, how's it going, folks? Hope you're doing well. So welcome to another One Piece review. This time we're covering Manga chapter 1146. And I just have one question before we start. Are you still sleeping on Gunko? So we'll get into that because Oda, I had a feeling Oda was going to go this route because he needed to heighten the tension by highlighting the threat and the danger of the three holy knights. That still doesn't change my opinion, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So we start off on the cover page, and all I can say is, I call it. We have Ulti hugging Yamato, crying while thanking Yamato for saving her brother and Ulti from Who's Who by one-shotting him. And I knew this moment was coming even before Oda gave us the lore drop via the SBS about Hanafunda, and the connection Ulti and Page 1 had with Hanafunda, and the fact that Hanafunda was linked with Kaido. It was the cherry on the top of the ice cream sundae as far as Ulti and Page 1, and the coming to terms of the resolution between the three, with the dialogue as well. I shall never forget thy favour, I shall become the loyal subordinate of Yamato. Now, Yamato's face screams out, okay, I get it, but I don't really care for this. But Oda's not going to have that caption if nothing's going to come of it. So it's going to come to what I said. Like, Yamato's going to tell Page 1 and Ulti to, like, go off on your own. That's cool. Leave the Toby Robo. Do what you got to do. But I can honestly, like, we don't know. And we don't really know the direction that Oda has for Yamato going forward, because this cover page, this Yamato cover page, is more or less a consolation prize because Oda got cold feet about Yamato joining the Strawhats. That's why this cover page exists. But we don't really know what's going to happen with Yamato going forward. So could Oda have Yamato set sail? It's possible, but this could be a way of teasing that. And I said this over and over, like the journey, like the whole quest to transport the katana from Kinemon around Wano, that was by default going to help Yamato, because Yamato's reasoning, like just like Odin explored Wano before he ventured off to the sea to explore outside of Wano, Yamato was going to do the same thing. So by default, that's going to happen anyway. So is Oda gearing us up for Yamato leaving Wano? Maybe, I don't know. So it just depends on the direction that Oda goes with Yamato, but I can honestly see Yamato pulling a page from Ace's playbook and handing a Viva card over to Ulti and Page 1, or vice versa. I could definitely see it going that route. But let me know what you guys think down below. It's cool we're getting a resolution to this. We start off the chapter, speaking of calling it, like Oda highlighting Gunko as a threat. I knew the only question marks. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Usopp and Nami, because they did, to their credit, do what they did their best. Only intriguing thing coming out of this confrontation was Jinbei and Brook. Like, was the only question mark, because really Gunko's been attacking Loki, but he was like shackled, so that's not really fair. But she took down a giant before this. She does have some credibility, but this is the first, like, okay, let's see what she can do. Now, she's been described as part of the human race, as one of the intruders, as part of the human race. As soon as that's mentioned, Gunko responds, you said human race. Now, it's interesting that Brook is like reacting to this, but I also find it interesting. You know, this is how serious things are when Oda doesn't have Brook pull his usual gag when seeing a new female for the first, when seeing a new girl for the first time, and not asking to show her panties. That, you know, this is like serious business. So Gunko responds, you said human race? We are gods. Nami adds to that, so what do the gods want with the kids from Elbath? Now this comes to play because Colin's like, oh yeah, they're my friends, give them back. Gunko's like, hold your tongue, brat. And we see the children are still being guided by Gunko's arrow as they're still sleepwalking. But we also, while this is going on, we do have dialogue from Gunko, but as this is going on, we cut to a scene where Frankie's already dealt with one of the creatures from the kids' nightmares. Thunder got taken down off screen by Frankie, so that's a W for Frankie. I kind of wondered if Barney was going to have a role, but you see the direction, like, and Frankie's going to have his own thing going on, along with Lil, to like find a way to repair Kuma, and Barney's going to be there for the ride. So while this is going on, you have the dialogue from Gunko. It'd be better if we could just abduct him, But because of their size, we can't do that. So we have no choice but to make them walk on their own and escort them to the Holy Land. Nami hears this and is like, wait, Merijoa? So now they know what's going on. And we come to find out in this chapter it's not just Gunko that's on the warpath. So Jinbei responds to that. So don't tell me you're a celestial dragon. And then Brooke responds, I think she's higher up on the food chain than that. She could be a member of the Holy Knights. So Brooke knows about this, and it would make sense considering he's the oldest. And I'm pretty sure Robin might know this considering she spent 2 years with the Revolutionaries and Dragons. So maybe. That's a possibility as well. But Gunko bluntly just responds, indeed. Usopp, it looks like, it seemed like the alcohol's wearing off and Usopp's starting to sober up, because in one panel he's like responding, so you want the little children to turn them into slaves. And he's angry saying this, but in the next panel when Gunko is literally threatening Usopp with her arrow before she attacks, and Usopp's like freaking out. So it's like is Usopp sobering up, which I already said, like, if Oda's gonna have Usopp have a character moment, I'd rather him be sober because it's gonna mean more. But that doesn't mean the alcohol won't kick in if Usopp decides to get a power up, and I wouldn't throw that out of the window just yet. I know things look dicey for Usopp in this chapter, but before Gunko could do anything and attack Usopp, Nami's the first one to try and attack Gunko immediately. She's like summoning Zeus. Now she uses a new technique, Thunder Shark Tempo, which is badass. Unfortunately, it looks like Gunko's able to redirect the attack at Nami. Nami running away, it looked like it hit her, but she just ends up allowing Brooke to take the hit. And as Gunko's going on with the monologue, you see one panel I actually thought was cute. Like, even though Brooke was like fried by Zeus's attack, Zeus is like apologetic, but you have both Brooke and Nami cute as hell, they're both having the thumbs up, so it's all good. But meanwhile, you got Gunko with his dialogue, says, and this is where it becomes interesting. So one day the world was supposed to vanish, or at least that was what was supposed to happen, until a portion of humans realized this and made it known to the world. And as she's saying this, we see 3 panels. Professor D. Clover, we know he is a D now, Nico Olivia, and also Vegapunk. So that I think this, I don't know, I may be reading too much into this, but this may end up highlighting Robin, and I'll get to that by the end. There's going to be a lot of build up as far as Robin and Retribution is concerned for this incident. But like I said, I'll get to that by the end. Usopp, he tries to attack and he lands the attack to it, but it's like Gunko is like trolling, and it's going to be interesting to see how the anime highlights this fight. But the way this fight starts, she's like not taking this seriously at all, because she's just tanking Usopp's attack. Now again, granted, it blew the upper half of Gunko's body off to the point where Usopp's like freaking out. Oh, I didn't mean that. And Nami's like, oh, that was straight up overkill. But Nami's realizing, as they all do, that Gunko's regenerating. So, oh, that's freaky as hell. So I was starting to feel bad. Brooke is the one that with the comment, coming back to life is something bizarre. This coming from Brooke. So yeah, but this is where Gunko gets serious. And this is where the tide changes, because, and again, she continues on with the monologue, but as she's attacking, no one can stop it. Usopp figures out what's up with the arrow. It's like showing the trajectory of her attack before it lands. We know this, because we saw that with Loki. Shout out to Nami, because she was the one that caught the arrow before it had any impact on Usopp. But this is where things hype up, and it got me thinking about what's to come, because she continues on with the monologue. An enormous battle will engulf the world. An enormous battle that will engulf the world is about to begin. You have 2 panels that stand out while Oda's got this dialogue going on. You have Dorian Broggy on the ship, but I'm failing to see Scopper on this ship. So either Oda conveniently hid him like he did with Robin a couple of chapters ago, and then is waiting to reveal him to be on the ship, or Scopper's already gone and he's heading elsewhere. And one of the panels is of Dorian Broggy taking care of business, and in the other panel, while this dialogue is continuing, she says, when that time comes, whoever the giants choose to side with will drastically change the course of the war. And in the other panel that stands out, the other panel, you have Luffy and Loki bloated up from devouring Grogisaurus meat paws. But the fact that and Oda he knew what he was doing with the scene because of the dialogue, because when that time comes, whoever the giants choose to side with, Loki was a key target for the world government. That's one of the reasons why the Holy Knights came to Elbaf to try and recruit him. That didn't work, so now they're going with a hostage situation, which is what Jinbei realizes. So that's why you want Elbaf under your control, and you're using the children as hostages to control Elbaf in this war. Nami's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. A war? That's not going to happen. Unfortunately, it's already starting. Gunko charges in and responds, I do this out of duty alone. The lives of those children are nothing but mere trash, but the concept of hostage means nothing. So the way she comes off is like, it's like hearing the Gorosei speak, but they refer to humans as insects. We've seen this so many times with Saturn. So she, in one hand, she's acting like a member of the Gorosei and a holy knight, but on the other hand, we've seen small traits of Gunko's character that goes against her demeanor and her vocabulary, because we see her acting completely out of turn of what she's saying here, because we've seen her listening to New World, a song by Brooke, as well as acting cute and being flustered by seeing Saint Summers in his underwear. So, but I will say, I was more intrigued by Gunko than Shamrock anyway, but right now, Gunko's character is so unique and interesting, because it really is. It's like she's half and half right now. But when Colin tries to do something, it doesn't work, because immediately Gunko grabs a hold of Colin with her arrow. This is what I was curious about as far as Brooke and Jinbei, because Jinbei and Brooke immediately charge in, because Gunko uses her arrows to change the trajectory of their attacks and actually connect with each other. So you have Brooke being punched by Jinbei, and you have Jinbei being pierced by Brooke's attack. Then she comes in to attack Nami, but to Nami's credit, it looks like she deflects the arrow before the attack lands, but the attack still landed and kicked Nami. Then Usopp tries to get another hit in, only this time Gunko again dodges like a boss, and this looks sick as hell. I can't wait to see how this looks in the anime. Usopp gets kneed directly in the face, and it looks like it knocked him out. But it definitely knocked all 4 Straw Hats off Colin's ship, while simultaneously Gunko has Colin held captive, right, for now. But as we come to find out, it's not just Gunko having fun. St. Killingham and St. Summers are on the warpath as well. And this is what I mean. The moment that Gunko gets serious, the tide of this conflict changes. So we cut from there and we go to the school, and this is where we come to find out that Kiba has been taken down. He literally got his head slam dunked into the ground by St. Killingham. It's cool to see him do something other than use his ability. So that was kind of epic. Though I will say, Angie doesn't seem to have a mark on him, but yeah, he's saying, I can't move my body. Now, St. Killingham responds, oh, I just put your body in sleep mode. But the fact that he hasn't taken a lick of damage like the other professors have, okay. At first, I wasn't sure what to make of this, because it wasn't me coming up with theory, because I wasn't sure what to make of this. But now I can absolutely, yeah, okay. But it doesn't matter, because right now, St. Killingham's in the middle of a conversation, holding the Dendamushi. Meanwhile, you got the Dengomushi, which is the giant transponder snail, in the background, which the whole of Elbaf can hear, by the way. So I wonder if this is gonna force those in the underworld to hear this. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Oh, I got it. But I'll just hold on tight, because I'm just almost done with this. And as we see St. Summers, we also see Saul even more messed up. So clearly the signs of a fight between St. Summers and Saul, and Saul's getting the worst end of the stick, literally, because we see a huge claw made of thorns that St. Summers is holding. Meanwhile, you see thorns surrounding Saul. Now, in this sequence, we see Robin and Chopper hiding in Saul's beard, and Saul is like, don't come out of my beard, and I'm leaving the kids in your care. He knows he's about to lose. He's passing on the mission of protecting the kids and leaving it up to Chopper and more specifically Robin. I'll get to that in a second because you see Robin struggling to cope with this because she's in Saul's beard. Well, that's on another level of torment for Robin. But then Saint Summers is like, come at me, bro. You see Saul passing out, so it looks like the fight's over with. So because of Saul losing here, we get the dialogue from Saint Summers. There was a time when giants shook the world with sheer brute strength. You'll become a mercenary. Isn't that right, King Harold? So again, if it wasn't obvious enough that something shady about King Harold and the world government was happening behind the scenes, Oda just straight out revealed it right here. That's going to lead to some all-important answers from some all-important questions about King Harold, what happened back in the day. So that may happen next. If not, it's coming in soon. But that's how the chapter ends. I definitely feel like with this chapter, there's a lot of context missing. But with what we found out recently, involved with the 2-week wait that we've had to wait for this chapter, we had the return of the anime. And I have to say this outright because Toei did something, the anime did something that I was kind of doubting. And I'm not, unlike most people on the internet, I'm not afraid to admit I was wrong. I was proven wrong by Toei and the anime because they did in fact include the all-important context as to what happened involving Robin and York. The anime filled in the blanks. I was not expecting that, so I was proven wrong in that. And I'm glad I was proven wrong in that because it's something I've been asking for, that we needed to explain why certain things happened the way they did. I don't care if Oda had a hand in this decision or not, or if the anime decided to do this. I don't give a shit. It was 1000% the right call, regardless of whose call it was. So I don't care. So it goes as follows. So we know there's type of interaction involving Robin and York because without context in the chapter, both took damage. Robin took more damage than York, but that without context, you feel like there's a full-blown fight, and Robin took severe injuries during that fight. That's the impression you get. My stance did not change on this. I said it was Robin that took down York. Turns out that was the case, but it wasn't a full-fledged fight. While Vegapunk was being threatened by York, Robin comes in and actually restrains and takes down York. So so the prophecy came true on that. But what we didn't know, and this explains the injuries, because after that, Robin, it looks like, tried to take on 2 of the Seraphim, S-Bear and S-Hawk, Seraphim Mihawk and Seraphim Kuma. That's why she got so severe injuries, because she tried to put up a fight. Now, could they have shown that scuffle of what Robin tried to do? Sure, but the fact that they alluded to that, and the fact that Robin tried to put up a front and tried to fend off S-Bear and S-Hawk, 2 of the strongest Seraphim, I would say, it resulted in her receive those injuries. You know what? I could accept that. And the problem to begin with was not the fact that we didn't get to see a fight involving Robin, involving York. My whole problem was you set Robin up tremendously because explained Vegapunk went to O'Hara after the incident, bumped into Dragon got ticked off, and Robin was not only reduced to tears, but also found out that Saul is technically alive on Elbaf. So that was the beginning of what we saw with the emotional reunion, but the whole point of that was, after that I said, okay, you're setting up Robin, cool, and we needed context to this. So Nico Robin did have a role in protecting and saving Vegapunk's life from York. We just didn't get to see it. Then, after that, trying to fend off S-Bear and S-Hawk, Kaku comes in, actually saves Robin, but ends up getting taking hits from Kuma, and hits from Seraphim Kuma, which explains why he was bandaged up too. So that was actually cool, they included that. And then, funnily enough, Zoro came in at the end, and this is what the narrative people were going with. Like, Robin tried to put up a fight against York, and Zoro was the one that ended up saving Robin. That's not the case at all. He did show up, but it was after Robin had already taken down York. So Zoro came in after Kaku was taken down, and Zoro even teased Kaku about this. Hey, I ended up saving your ass. But the thing is, the thing that turned this whole thing around was not only Robin saving Vegapunk from York by restraining her and taking her down, but also Luffy and Nami completely changed the flow of everything. Oda didn't stray from revealing this because of Luffy pleading with a snake or Zerafim Boa Hancock to like unpetrify Frankie, Usopp and Lilith. So obviously succumbing to Luffy and the power of love, unpetrified the three. So just like the original, the power of love knows no bounds as far as Boa Hancock's concerned. In fact, Jinbei even called that out in the episode, which is funny. But then because of that, because of Lilith being unpetrified, she ends up handing the bubble gun over to Nami. And remember, these bubbles that encapsulate the Zerafim, she managed to capture all the Zerafim and save Sanji in the process, which in my opinion, we didn't even get any hints about that. So that was huge on Nami's behalf, to not only save Sanji, but also be the one to restrain the Zerafim that are pretty much a primary threat. You see how a few minutes of added scenes adds a whole lot more context to a situation. In response to, had we not gotten this, and Oda decided to wait for a SBS 2 years from now to reveal this type of information, I would have been pissed. That's the importance of these episodes going forward, because they're going to add more context to a lot more scenes that were cut because Oda didn't have the time to include them in the chapters. And this is a certain situation now, in this chapter specifically, where we see Saul already messed up in a fight from Saint Summers. Obviously, there's some context missing as to what went down, but we just saw Chopper and Robin hiding in the beard of Saul while this was going on. I was already proven wrong, so I'm not doubting them anymore. They could actually reveal what happened to lead up to these injuries that ended up taking down Saul at the hands of Saint Summers. As far as like character moments go, this is going to lead to a huge character moment for Robin, because I don't think Saul is dead, unless Oda wants to go a crazy direction and literally have Robin go on a demonic warpath, if that's the case. But I don't see that, just because Saul is leaving the protection of the children in the hands of Chopper, and more specifically Robin. Robin already had a problem with the children being targeted. Now you're adding this element of Saul being taken down by Saint Summers. Again, it all depends if Saint Summers just casually goes off and does his own thing. Again, he did reference the school and the library, so I can definitely try and see them trying to burn down the library. That's not too much of a consequence, considering both Robin and Chopper were off screen in that library. We don't know what they read. We only know that Robin discovered a 3-world Harley. She was reading the text, but she doesn't have the pictures to go along with it. That moment is coming before the end of Elbaf, which is going to lead to a monstrous lore drop. So that moment's coming. And we don't even know what book she may have read outside of the Harley that I just mentioned. I'm pretty sure Robin has most of that down. A lot of those books came from O'Hara, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to be too much of a consequence. It would suck, but that just adds more to the personal element and the grudge she's going to have going forward. And this is going to push Robin to do something epic. And this moment, I'm not going to lie, there are traces of this scene that kind of remind me of what happened with Law and Coruscant during the flashback when Coruscant sacrificed himself to protect Law from Doflamingo. You remember Law was in the barrel, not able to be hurt because Coruscant had his devil fruit activated. So Law was like freaking out. He couldn't do anything. It kind of gave me similar vibes here, right there, but literally in the beard of Saul. I don't know if I'm the only one that saw this, or I'm reading too much into this, but that's the vibes I got. And I would not throw it out there. There's not a possibility that Law might show up. We don't know. Like I said, if the Rock Poneglyph is on Elbaf, this is going to be bringing Cross Guild. I've said this over and over. I can see Cross Guild, see them listing the help of Boa Hancock, a former Shichibukai, but also Law, a former Shichibukai, who is also pretty much MIA right now. Beppo, the last time we saw him, got away from Teach, and Law was like heavily wounded, but he was alive. We haven't seen Law since, so I would not throw it out the possibility of Law showing up. And now all I'm thinking about is like Law coming in to save him, Robin. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that thought just blew my mind because there are so many parallels involving Law and Robin. So, but mainly this is setting up both Robin and Nami to do something epic. Usopp is probably going to do something epic, but I said this like since before the Straw Hats officially arrived on Elbaf. You could see like with the Lego Town scenario, yes, the Monster Trio were highlighted, but in my opinion, Oda highlighted Nami as the MVP of that whole situation. She took down Road, and she was also heavily crucial in helping the Straw Hats get out. So I said it then, Oda did that for a reason. It may lead into something involving Nami and Robin, because they're both critical in Oda and Luffy getting to Laughdale. If the final world poneglyph is on Elbaf, then that's gonna hype up Nami, not just Robin. So I said that before Elbaf officially started. So I still feel that way. Like I said, Gunko was a beast, but I do want to give Nami props because there were two incidents where she does save the day for not only for Usopp, but also she was able to like mitigate some of the damage. Like I said, I feel like Scop is coming in to save like Colin, as he should, because we didn't see him on the ship with Dory and Broggy. Oda conveniently had him absent, so I won't rule that out. Well, all this talk, and with Gunko talking about the Giants turning the war, that's a direct cause of changing the course of the war, that's not done for random purposes. That's either hinted at the war that's about to go down on Elbaf, or it's going to hint at the final war after Luffy makes it to Laughdale and finds the One Piece. So it's one of the two. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Dragon and the Revolutionaries show up to back up Robin and Luffy later down the road because of the Holy Knights being here. I wouldn't be surprised. More importantly, this is setting up Robin to get a monstrous moment, maybe even a character moment, which I said before over and over again. This was needed, but the hype is not over, and I had this in the back of my mind. I haven't said it yet, but I have this. It was in the back of my mind. He did a speed run to the reunion of Saul and Robin. It was a great moment, but he speed run to that moment. Let's be real. So it's like after that, the only thing that makes sense is if there's a threat. We got that in the form of the Holy Knights. It's either going to lead to Robin doing something to help out, or it's going to lead to a team up involving Robin and Saul. Clearly, that's not happening now, because Saul's been taken down. Like I said, I don't think he's dead unless Oda's going in a completely different direction. And in the back of my mind, well, what was going to happen by the end of this anyway? Because Robin's going to leave with the Straw Hats, but she has to say goodbye to Saul. So what happens then? Is Saul going to sacrifice himself anyway? That was in the back of my mind anyway. But like with this scenario now, I can definitely see this pushing Robin to do something epic. Hopefully that's what we get, but I don't know if it's going to be against St. Summers, but there's definitely going to be some hell to pay for this. And like I said, with Gunko teasing the impact of a war brewing, whether that's on Elbaf or not, we know there's a showdown going on Elbaf right now. And like I said at the beginning, are you still sleeping on Gunko after this chapter? I'm not. I do have to give both Usopp and Nami credit. I can't wait to see what Robin does from here. So let me know what you guys think down below. You guys know what to do by now. If you enjoyed this review, hit that thumbs up. That's going to do it for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to for more One Piece, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you guys. Bye.